Hi guys, I'm Cody J and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, if this is your first time at my channel, welcome. What took you so long? But I'm glad you found me. Now, if you're someone who loves honest reviews, tutorials, makeup challenges, skincare and story time, and someone who just supports the hell out of everyone, welcome to my channel. That's what you're going to get. If that's something that you like, click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos of mine. And if you're one of my current subscribers, thanks for always having my back. So one of the most requested things I get in my comments is, will you please do an eyebrow tutorial? Why? I'm not really sure. I don't have like amazing brows, but I think they're decent. I mean, they're never twins, but they're kind of like distant cousins, like 3 times removed, but like put back, but then like removed again. But we get where we need to get sometimes. Now, yeah, sometimes I'm lazy and I don't like carve them out, so they're a little bit wonky, but sometimes I try hard. So usually I do them off camera. Sometimes you'll see a little snippet here and there. I just don't think it's something that's entertaining. Like, it's something boring. Most people don't do their brows on camera because nobody cares. But since y'all are asking me for an eyebrow tutorial, that's what you're gonna get today. Today's video is gonna be super short, simple, right to the point, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two, or maybe something like to not do. I don't really know. But if you're excited for this, or you want my tips and tricks on my eyebrows, and maybe it works with your eyebrow routine, stick around. Okay guys, so as far as brow products, there are pencils, pomades, gels, creams, everything. I personally don't like pencils. I like more of a cream based product or a pomade. So 2 of my go-to brow products are the Dip Brow by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, of course, you don't have to have this specific brand and product. There are plenty of Dip Brow dupes that you can find. I mean, there's one by e.l.f. Cosmetics you can get. There's a lot of them out there that are a bit more affordable, or if you really don't care about the brands, there's lots of options. I also switch between that and my Goof Proof Brow Pencil by Benefit Cosmetics. Again, there are plenty of dupes for that. So you don't have to use these specific products, of course. They're just ones that I like and work for me. Now, most times I've been using my ADH Dip Brow. Sometimes I like to go to my Goof Proof Brow Pencil. God, that's a mouthful, Goof Proof Brow Pencil. Anyway, so what I like to do is I get my little mirror and I hold it down in front of me so I have something to look at. It's harder for me to like, I don't know, hold this and pay attention. It's user preference. So sometimes I switch back and forth, but that doesn't matter. So what you're gonna need is more of an angled brush and a spoolie. I like to use this one from Jeffree Star Cosmetics and his collaboration with Morphe. This is the JS7 brush. It's perfect because it's dual-ended, so you got both the tools you need in one brush. Now, you can see at the very tip of it, it's a very slanted, angled brush. It's really good for having a lot of, precision in your brows. And then, of course, the spoolie is to brush the hairs away and to blend the product into your brows. So to start, what you want to do is you want to brush your brow hairs upwards to get them out of the way so you can see the natural line that your brows have. Now, if you're using a pencil or something like the Goof Proof Brow Pencil, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to brush your hairs out of your way, you're going to take it off, you're going to turn it up a little bit to get the product out, and you're just literally going to draw where you want your line to be, and then you're going to brush your hairs down, and then you're going to not go over the natural line of your brow, but you're just going to go at the very base of it, and then you're going to just draw where you want your brows to be, and then you're just going to extend it downwards into a point so you have a really sharp tail. So then you're going to get your spoolie and you're going to blend it all together so it looks seamless, and then you'll carve them out, which we'll get to that. So today I'm going to be using my ABH Dip Brow, so I'm just going to show you that on camera. So what you want to do is you want to get your Dip Brow, and you're just going to get the tip of this, and you're just going to very lightly coat the brush with it. You don't need too much. I usually tap off some of the excess. I don't want it too glumpy. Is that a word? Glumpy? I don't want there to be too much product on the brush. So once you have the product on the brush, you're just going to start at the very base of your brow, and you're going to, with short strokes, work the product into the brow, paying extra attention to the spots that are a little bit more bare than the other parts of your brow. Now, I like to follow basically my natural line, and then as I get over here is when I start to create more of an illusion of it being fuller, because this one's a bit thinner than my other one, but I like to do everything in like diagonal lines so that they're always going up and out instead of kind of being drugged down. So once you get up to the corner where your brow tail meets the fuller front part of your brow, that's when I like to really push it upwards, and then I'll start to curve it and slant it down towards the tail. Now once you get to the natural point of your tail, that's when I like to tip the brush a little bit like this, so you're really getting the very, very tip as pointed as possible. Then I will drag it down a little bit, just to extend my tail a little bit further. Nothing too crazy, but it just gives a really sharp point, especially after you carve them out. Now once you have that first line underneath your brow finished, go ahead and brush your brow hairs down, just so you can see the natural line on top. Once you have those brushed down, you're going to do the same thing, but kind of like reverse. So instead of being at the very bottom, you're going to go at the very top of your brow hairs, but not really over them, because then you're making your brows thicker, and most people don't want that. I don't want that. I want them to pretty much be the same shape, like thickness that they are, but kind of alter the angles a little bit. So I'm going to start at the very front, not all the way to the very front, but just about close enough. And then you're just going to make a straight line, for me at least. I'm going to make a straight line, and I'm going to kind of go up at an angle right to the very corner right here, so that my brow, the front of my brow, is kind of squared a little bit more, and then bring it out a little bit past the natural hairs. Then I'm going to make it go downwards very sharply and bring it into that tail. And then I'm going to go back, I'm going to blend this out a little bit, and then when I get to this corner again, I'm just going to kind of round it a little bit. And bring it right down. So then, whatever product's left on my brush, I'm just going to brush it through my brow hairs. And then go upwards with tiny little brush strokes to make it kind of look like hairs. Just a little bit. We don't want too much product in the front. And once you have the product in, don't worry, your eyebrow looks really dark, but then you're going to get the spoolie end. And you're just going to brush your hairs downwards. Brush them upwards to blend the product in. Makes them look a bit more natural. Now I'm going to do the same thing to my left eyebrow, fill it in, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back and the other brow is filled in. Now keep in mind, they are going to be a bit thicker and darker than you kind of want them to be at first. For me, using this dip brow, it has a lot more pigment than if I'm using a brow pencil like the Goof Proof brow pencil. So for me, it's more about filling them in rather than getting the shape exactly how I want them. That's what, carving your brow is for. Now ideally, you'd want to do your brows before anything else because you can be messy about it. It's easier when you're carving them out and trying to blend everything into your skin compared to doing it after your foundation's on, because then you can mess it up and you can get the dip brow or whatever product you're using all of your foundation and it's a mess. And if you watch like all of my videos, I always do my brows after foundation and after everything else. Not that I plan on it. I always plan on doing it first, but for some reason, whenever I'm filming, I always do that like last, which is not helpful. So when I'm carving out my brows, I like to use my P. Louise base. This is in shade Rumor 01. This is super high coverage, it's super blendable, it's really creamy, it's really nice when you're applying. So I just take this and I put it on the back of my hand and I'll dip into it from there. So I'm just gonna take this very small brush. It doesn't really have a name on it. I probably got it on eBay. But I'm gonna take this, you could take anything thin or angled. I just personally like this brush. But I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna coat the P. Louise base on both sides of it. And then I'm just gonna go in and I'm going to make sure that I make it as sharp as possible with the line all the way up to the corner right here, to the tip, and I'm going to go all the way down to the end of my tail, and then I'm going to do the same thing above it. So I like to just take it sideways. Now normally I use this as well to prime my eyelids, so I usually put a lot on the bottom and then I'll blend it down and then I'll pack it onto my eyelids, so that's why I go sideways with it. Some people like to go up and down to make the line as thin as possible, but for me I like to go sideways. I just like a little bit more coverage and more product, especially because I use it for my eyelids. I like to take it out a little bit just for the heck of it, but this is really when you're going to create the shape of your brow and clean them up. So I like to go all the way up like that, dip back in. Can you see that? Okay, cool. Dip back in, and then I like to go really close to the hairs. And I like to bring it all the way down past the tail, and it really cuts it and makes it really sharp. And then on top, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to go down a little bit lower because they are a little bit thicker. I find that when I use dip brow, my eyebrows end up being a bit thicker than I want right off the bat until I carve them out. If I use a brow pencil that's a bit more precise, then I don't have as much of an issue. But this is a good way, when you're carving your brows out at least, this is a good way to really refine the shape, make them a bit thinner if you want. And then again, you're just going to take it down your tail, past the point, connect it with the bottom one. Now I like to really try to blend it out as much as I can right now with the same brush. And if you need a little bit more coverage, you can go over them again. I don't really need it, but sometimes I do it just because. Now I also like to put it right here on the front to really square it off. And then when I use my beauty blender, I'll blend it into the front of my eyebrow so it gives it kind of an ombre effect. That way they don't look like Sharpie brows like a lot of amateurs have. Okay, once you have the concealer around your eyebrows to carve them out, you're just going to take a beauty sponge. This is from Beaky. It's basically a Beauty Blender knockoff, and it's so much more affordable. You can get a 5-pack for like 10 bucks, so I recommend. But you're just going to blend the concealer out, or whatever product you're using. Like I said, I'm using my P. Louise base, but you're going to do the same thing with whatever product you use. So like I said, it's really much better to do this before your foundation, because if you're using something as light as this P. Louise base like I'm using, like I said, I love it because it has a lot of coverage and it's really good. It would make your eyebrows look weird if you do it after foundation, because then you have these weird like white lines around your eyebrows, and that's not good. So it's best to do eyebrows before, almost always. But you're just going to blend this out. And like I said, for me, I bring this down so I don't care if it gets all over my eyelid, just because this is what I also use to prime my eyelids. So anything that's super bright around your eyebrow from carving it out is going to be covered up by your foundation, so then it's going to go back to looking really normal. Now once you have that pretty much blended out, whatever's left on the sponge, I like to just press it over the very front, like to about right here of my eyebrows. It just lightens it up a little bit and kind of gives it that ombre effect, so it looks a bit more natural and not as blocky. Okay, I'm going to do the other eyebrow real quick, the exact same way, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I literally finished this eyebrow in like 30 seconds. So once my eyebrows are carved out, I like to take the exact same brush that I was just using. I take the spoolie end with whatever product's still on it, and I like to just one more time run it through my brows just to make sure they're really, really blended. And if any of your concealer or your base that you're using gets in your eyebrows, this kind of blends the product back and really creates that sharp line again, and gets rid of whatever color is there. Like right here I have a little bit of the white from my base, so I just run it right back through and it covers it back up and you're good to go. Now most people, once their eyebrows are finished, they like to set them with a clear brow gel. I don't have any brow gel, but that's something I need to add to my list, because for me when I take photos, my eyebrow hairs raise right here, so it kind of ruins the illusion of my tail being longer because it's lifting up, so it's kind of like not helpful. So I will get a brow gel at some point, but that is my little eyebrow tutorial for you guys. As you can see, they're sharp, they're angled, they're pointed, they're great, they're beautiful, they're much better than they normally are. So hopefully you learned a few things from this. If you didn't, sorry, it's what I do. So real quick, let's jump into today's MUA shout out. Today's MUA shoutout goes to the insanely talented Emily Rose. I will link all of her information in the description box below, so you'll definitely want to go check her out and show her some love and support. If you would like to be my next video's MUA shoutout, all you have to do is of course be subscribed to my YouTube channel and retweet this video link when I post it onto Twitter. Now if you guys would like to follow me on my social media, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. They are both at Cody J Artistry. And if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up down below, click the big red subscribe button so you can join my YouTube family, and I'll see you guys in the next one.